on Times Now Super Prime Time.
Okay, Vinod Mehta joins this panel. He's against giving Vajpayee a Bharat Ratna. Sudhanshu Trivedi obviously isn't. He represents the BJP tonight. Pavan Verma is for, I presume, because his leader Nitish Kumar is for. Sanjay Jha stays on with the debate. Now, Vinod Mehta, you know, what's your problem with giving Vajpayee the Bharat Ratna?
Well, Arnab, two caveats before. Mr. Vajpayee is a very genial, amiable, nice person. That's one. And the second caveat is that there are many undeserving people in the political list that you have got, which should not have got the Bharat Ratna. Having said that, I think I would be opposed to Mr. Vajpayee getting Bharat Ratna.
Why?
Because he has a very, very mixed record. And I think that one of the things about Mr. Vajpayee that we seem to forget, that he probably ran one of the most corrupt PMOs in independent India. Perhaps after Chandrasekhar, this was one of the most corrupt PMOs. If you remember, the people in the PMO were the late Brijesh Misra, there was Mr. N.K. Singh, and there is Mr. Ranjan Bhattacharya, the son-in-law. I am a victim of Mr. Vajpayee's harassment. Outlook was raided simply because we exposed Mr. Vajpayee's PMO. And I was and my proprietor was put through all kinds of problems. I had to go and beg Brijesh Misra and Yashwant Sinha to stop harassing my proprietor. But if you forget my individual case, if you look at the record of the PMO at that time under Vajpayee, you will find that in the power sector, in the telecom sector, in the road sector, there was enormous corruption. And in the Radia tapes, if you remember, there is a conversation between Neera Radia and Mr. Ranjan Bhattacharya, in which he says, quotes Mukesh Ambani, saying that Congress to apni dukaan hai. So Mr. Ranjan Bhattacharya was masterminding the PMO.
Mr. Mehta, does that override everything else? One sec, we're getting a BJP counter. As I override everything else, are you saying nobody else had any controversy? And are you bringing?
I'm saying
I want to get the BJP. No, one sec. I think we want to get the BJP in, because they've raised their hand out there objecting to some of the points that you made, and I'm glad that you put it on record that you have had problems with Mr. Vajpayee. But some will ask you, Mr. Vinod Mehta, that are you bringing your personal problems in your assessment of Vajpayee's worthiness for the Bharat Ratna?
No.
One second. No, the BJP wants to counter you.
Because I was raided, because I exposed the PMOs.
Point is taken. I'm not censoring any point of view, but I'm letting the BJP counter. Sudhanshu Trivedi, you heard that.
With due respect to Mr. Mehta,
yes,
as it was quite evident that there is some personal point attached to him. Otherwise, a senior journalist like him should say something with a proper substance. Whatever he was saying about PMO has not been proved anywhere. It's some sort of allegations which is keep on going. If you look at Rajiv Gandhi, there's such a serious allegation of Bofors, and it has been given to in their government. I'm not going in those type of you can say the details. I would just like to say two or three substantive things. The only leader in the political history of India who received an applause from Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru as a very young leader, to Narasimha Rao saying him as a political guru, who has continued in the same esteem for the 5 decades in this country, and particularly in the present circumstances that the politics is going so low, the level of moral values and dignity which he exemplified for continuous 5 decades. I think if he is given Bharat Ratna, it will be like a torch bearer, or
why are you raising
like
it
a
now?
lighthouse for the coming generation in the politics.
You forgot about it till now that Sachin Tendulkar got the award, he suddenly woke up? I mean, you know,
several years, at the time of Atalji's, last several years, at the time of Atalji's birthday, it has been raised by BJP leaders. So and I would like to add one more sentence. 3 years back, when President Barack Obama came to India, he said that while addressing the entire session of the parliament, he was saying that India is not emerging, India has emerged. I would like to ask when India has emerged. It emerged on 13th of May 1998 when Pokhran 2 was conducted by Atal Bihari Vajpayee. It was much difficult. So Indira Gandhi has done the first Pokhran. It was definitely a tough task.
Okay,
but at the time there were 2 power centers in the world and one was with you.
No,
and
you've never done. Your party. Are you absolutely sure that there's never been any politics while deciding Bharat Ratna awardees? You awarded Jai Prakash Narayan. 1 minute.
It's very
1 minute. Allow me to complete what I'm saying. You awarded Jai Prakash Narayan. Now, Jai Prakash Narayan was the biggest rival of Indira Gandhi. He was posthumously given the Bharat Ratna by you in 1999. Do you remember JP himself refused the Bharat Ratna in 1977? Did you forget that the Janata government for its tenure had done away with the concept of national awards? Do you forget that Vajpayee was a member of that Janata government? You are clamoring for an award for a politician who was part of a government that opposed the awards in the first place. Am I right or am I wrong? Mr. Trivedi, was Vajpayee a member of the Janata
Honestly,
government which had done away with the concept of national awards? So you must think before you speak on his behalf.
If we go by your logic, Arnab, then the government was headed by Morarji Desai, who himself had got Bharat Ratna afterwards. So it was a particular judgment of the Janata Party, which they were thinking at an appropriate, whatever they were thinking in appropriate in that circumstances. But ultimately, the government was led by Janata Party, Morarji Desai, who himself has got. So the question automatically becomes...
No, so why do you know, why you seem, this fact is that there is politics involved in this. When you lobbied for Atal Bihari Vajpayee, my counter for you, my simple counter for you on that one is, allow me, no, you asked me a question. I'm going to counter that. My counter to that for you is, when you started lobbying for Atal Bihari Vajpayee to be given the Bharat Ratna in 2008, did you remember that Ramvilas Paswan wanted Bharat Ratna for Mahatma Jyotiba Phule, Babu Jagjivan Ram, Muhammad Rafi? Did you forget that Raghuvansh Prasad, who was Union Minister, demanded it for Karpuri Thakur? Did you forget that Odisha Chief Minister Naveen Patnaik for Biju Patnaik? Did you forget that the Assam unit of the Samajwadi Party wanted the Bharat Ratna for Mulayam Singh Yadav? Mayawati demanded it for Kanchi Ram. Am I right or wrong? Come on, Mr. Trivedi. If you want to argue on that point, then I will throw back 1,000 examples at you. But Pavan Verma wanted to counter. Pavan Verma, to you, please. You're supporting the demand. Why are you?
You know, I'll tell you one thing. This claim that Mr. Vajpayee should receive the Bharat Ratna is not the time, Arnab, to start to make an audit sheet of what his achievements or negative factors were. There is no doubt that Mr. Vajpayee was by far one of the most popular leaders in India. He had 50 years of contribution to Parliament. He was a great orator, beloved of the people. And he was also in many ways a statesman, and from my point of view, his biggest contribution was, his historic role was, to moderate the BJP and try and make it a more mainstream party by eliminating its irrational prejudices, its excesses.
That's why you are supporting. That's why you are supporting. That's why you are supporting Vajpayee, because for you, he's the pole within.
Let me add to you.
He's the pole within.
Let me add to you. Let me add to that, Arnab.
He's the pole.
I've come very late into this debate.
Okay.
Please allow me to speak for 30 seconds.
Yeah.
You know, the other thing is, I had the great privilege of translating his poetry. I knew the person, but that has nothing to do. This is nothing about personal thing. But I'll say to you that today the BJP has been less than vocal and eloquent in asking for the Bharat Ratna, precisely because Mr. Vajpayee is now sidelined in the BJP scheme of things. He should have got the Bharat Ratna.
What are you saying?
Ministers have got it.
What do you mean less than vocal? Please clarify.
I believe that it's only now when 2 other Bharat Ratna awardees have been announced.
No, you are saying. So you are saying. Sudhanshu Trivedi respond. No. So you are saying. Are you saying? And then in that case, Sudhanshu, are you saying the BJP is embarrassed about Vajpayee? The present BJP, are you saying the BJP which projects Narendra Modi as the Prime Minister is embarrassed about Vajpayee, too embarrassed to be on its own lobbying for Vajpayee for the Bharat Ratna before Sachin Tendulkar got it? Are you saying they've been forced to say what they said?
Are you asking me this question?
Yes, the question is to you, so I get an effective counter.
the question, the answer is very clear, Arnab, in my view, and I can only speculate on this. The BJP has come out strongly for a Bharat Ratna for Mr. Vajpayee when two other names have been announced. I want to ask that this party, which is otherwise so eloquent, when you could have made a claim, has the Atal Bihari Vajpayee point of view in the BJP been sidelined? And is the BJP therefore...
So there you are. You're doing politics on it now, aren't you?
Mr. Vajpayee,
you're doing politics on it.
Mr. Vajpayee is above
You're doing politics on it, Pavan Verma.
Our view,
you are doing politics over the Vajpayee demand. You are there. You jump in straight into the fray and you think to yourself...
he's above politics.
No, of course not.
I am saying he's above politics and he deserves
you are saying
on merit.
I'll let the BJP counter. You're saying he's above politics, but you dragged him straight into politics by saying that he represents anti-Modi pole within the BJP. That's what you're effectively saying. Sudhanshu Trivedi is countering. Then I have a question. Vinod Mehta coming to you, but I'll have a question for Sanjay Jha here because he's also got a lot to answer for. Sudhanshu, please.
What Mr. Pavan Verma is trying to say is quite away from the context and from the truth. Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji, our tallest leader, most respected and the source of inspiration. And as far as what he's trying, that he tried to moderate BJP and other things, BJP firmly believes in those ideals which were properly represented by Sri Atal Bihari Vajpayee. I would just like to remind one thing. In 1990, after Advaniji's Rath was stopped in Bihar, who has gone to President to withdraw the support, it was Atal Bihari Vajpayee. So there was nothing you try to create a divide within the BJP or...
Who's trying to create a divide?
Sort of things. I don't think it will be justice. And one more thing, that Atal Bihari Vajpayee's personality is so towering, as I have already said, that his contribution to the Indian political system is so immense that in my opinion, he is above the Bharat Ratna. But once the context has arisen, so in this context, BJP has said, and it is very
No, you remembered Vajpayee only after Sachin's name came up. Pavan Verma does not agree with you. I'll allow Pavan Verma counter. You've all politicized these awards. I don't know what you're saying.
Who had got the Bharat Ratna sitting on the chair, Jawaharlal Nehru to Indira Gandhi, and it was not politics. It's very ridiculous to say.
The question to the Congress
that
party
giving
now.
Jayaprakash Narayan was the politics and getting Indira Gandhi and Jawaharlal Nehru was not the politics.
The question goes to the Congress party now. Please listen carefully to this. Manish Tiwari says, Vinod Mehta, I'll come to you now. Let's deal with Manish Tiwari says, when he's asked why is Vajpayee not being given the Bharat Ratna, he says that the Vajpayee had not followed the Raj Dharma during the 2002 riots. Sanjay Jha, who was Prime Minister? Who was Prime Minister during the 1984 riots in Delhi?
Let me answer your question, Arnab. You know what Manish Tiwari was talking about a gentleman with whom I think everybody seems to have a very charitable disposition for, which is Mr. Atal Bihari Vajpayee. With due respects to him, number one, since Sudhanshu Trivedi believes that he is above the Bharat Ratna, then why do they lower the standards of Mr. Vajpayee by wanting to offer him one? So I don't know what the BJP's trip is. But to answer your question, who said Babri ya Barabri? No, 1 minute. Why don't you ask Mr. Sudhanshu Trivedi that?
You answer my question.
Who said that famous line? I remember that. I was also grown up enough. Who said Babri ya Barabri? Who equated the minorities with a disputed site that was, everybody knew, highly politically contentious? This is the same gentleman who cried crocodile tears in Goa after the Gujarat riots had happened. And Arnab, I can tell you there's a lot of truth in what Manish Tiwari mentioned.
Who was Prime Minister?
He mentioned in Goa in his speech.
Who was Prime Minister on November 1984?
1 minute, that the minorities ought to be grateful. I'm answering that question.
Who was Prime Minister?
Since I've come last on the debate.
No, you're not answering my question, Sanjay.
Give me an opportunity and I'm answering your question.
You're dodging my question.
In 2002, I'm answering your question.
No, you're not. You're dodging.
You started by quoting Manish Tiwari. I need to put that in perspective because Manish is not here and I'm a spokesman of the party. In 2002, the riots went on for weeks and weeks all over Gujarat. It was not just in Ahmedabad. And you had the Deputy Prime Minister from Gandhinagar.
We have counters for that.
The Prime Minister of India, who had the entire apparatus in Gujarat, in Delhi, did he make any effort to try and prevent the riots that were going absolutely insane and horrible in the massacres that it was finally unfolding into. What did he do to intervene there? That's a point that Manish Tiwari made. Let me answer your question on Rajiv Gandhi in 1984. When the violence started, that was not a riot, that was violence. It was terrible. It was a terrible tragedy. We deplore that. It's to be condemned. It's a national shame. I don't think there's any dispute on that issue.
It was not a natural disaster.
Of my party,
it was not a natural disaster. So. It was a political riot in which the hands of political leaders were involved.
Rajiv Gandhi's
it was a riot in which Rajiv Gandhi said on November 19, 1984.
1 minute.
Sanjay Jha, I will put out the quote, then you can respond. On November 19, 1984, Rajiv Gandhi said, and I quote, "Some riots took place in the country following the murder of Indiraji. We know the people were very angry, and for a few days it seemed India had been shaken. But when a mighty tree falls, it is only natural that the earth around it should shake a little." These are not the words of Vajpayee.
Let me answer your question, Arnab. Please give me 2 minutes of uninterrupted time. When October 31,
I put this in the context of what Manish Tiwari
assassination Mrs. Gandhi happened, Rajiv Gandhi was the Prime Minister. It was his own personal direct intervention. He moved around the streets. The violence came to a stop within 3 days. Let me correct you, Arnab, because I thought you will have your facts right here, but let me correct you. I'm glad I'm on Newshour, which is watched by a lot of people. The BJP tries to spread this canard that Rajiv Gandhi's statement of when the big tree falls was instrumental for the violence. It is wrong, because that statement was made 19 days after the violence had come to a stop.
It was not been
Sudhanshu is responding 4 minutes into this debate. Sudhanshu is responding. We're getting a rebut. The question goes, that question was put.
Not the same.
No, 1 second. Sudhanshu is rebutting you.
He had not just apologized, he had put an end
to
the
Sanjay, I heard you there. Here's Sudhanshu's response. We get 2 counters. We're getting 2 counters. Okay, we have 3 hands go up.
I think we need to put different.
Sanjay, you have to let others in.
Vajpayee's direct.
You have to let others in.
Of what happened in Gujarat with Rajiv Gandhi's effort to put an end to the violence.
Now we have counters. The first counter is Sudhanshu Trivedi. Quickly, 30-second counters, please. Sudhanshu first.
Rajiv Gandhi ji has given a statement on 19th of November. It was not for instigation. It was more, you can say, more derogatory, that it was.
No, but that's what you have been trying to elude all these months and years. And by the way, the context is not. Read the entire sentence.
Let him complete.
We heard you. You were saying that your government was sincere.
In
1984, we heard you.
All the persons died was 100% of one community.
Propaganda of the BJP.
He heard you.
Mr. Sanjay Jha, let me complete my sentence.
Well, will he accept that
all the persons died,
RSS people
they were from one community. All the persons died in the police reaction. It was from one community, and not even a single execution till now of any political leader. And you are saying that your government was justified.
Wow, we are going.
You are unnecessarily taking the things into other direction.
No, 1 second.
In order to evade your question.
1 second, we are reaching a touchy point on this debate. So I'm going to ask one question. I have 1 minute before I go into the break. We have a choice. Gentlemen, do I have your agreement with? Then I'll take the permission of the viewers. Let's take a break and let's come back on that. Can we wait 3 minutes? Do you allow me a 3-minute break? Vinod Mehta, do you give me a 3-minute break before I continue the debate? With your permission, sir. Pavan, Verma and Vinod Mehta.
Sir.
Okay. 3-minute break. And the counter to that question, just 180 seconds, ladies and gentlemen. We ask a question tonight that Manish Tiwari, when asked of why Vajpayee had not been conferred the Bharat Ratna, said Vajpayee had not followed the Raj Dharma in 2002. Is that the view of the UPA government as well? Is that the reason he's not been given the Bharat Ratna? And should the Prime Minister not express his own views on whether Vajpayee needs to be given the Bharat Ratna? I'm back on this debate, 180 seconds. Don't go anywhere. Now we have 10 more minutes on debate number 2. My question today at this point is that can the UPA think in one voice? You know, by UPA I mean Farooq Abdullah says he deserves a Bharat Ratna. Pallam Raju says she deserves a Bharat Ratna. Manish Tiwari says he doesn't deserve a Bharat Ratna. Sheila Dikshit says, why didn't you give a Bharat Ratna when you were in power? I mean, what kind of logic is this? You give Bharat Ratnas to yourself. Maybe the Congress does it. It doesn't need to be the rule. And who else? We have Shashi Tharoor who says, I have great respect for Vajpayee. In other words, Vajpayee deserves a Bharat Ratna, just Shashi Tharoor. You know, the divide is within. Sanjay, I know it's irritating you, but the fact is that you are totally divided within. And that shows that you probably politicized it when you shouldn't have.
Let me tell you, Arnab, Arnab, it's a very simple one. Mr. Pallam Raju, Mr. Shashi Tharoor, everybody has got their own individual views and we respect that. But end of day, this is not a decision because, it's not like a laundry list of people who awarded year after year. There are big question marks. No, let me tell you, this is a subjective issue. That's why we are debating it today. Some people say, why did somebody get an award later, somebody get it earlier, somebody didn't get it at all. The question is, and this is the fundamental point since you're talking about Mr. Vajpayee, there is a critical issue of the 2002 riots that cannot be ignored. As a Prime Minister, he let that happen.
Pavan Verma.
The Congress did not call him Mukhauta. Govind Acharya of the Sangh Parivar did. That's not to do with the Congress party. And last but not the least, let me tell you, it was not just the son-in-law running the PMO.
But Farooq Abdullah, who is your Farooq Abdullah, says even Nehru praised Vajpayee. You're getting a counter. You're getting a counter from Pavan Verma. Pavan Verma, this is so.
1 minute, look at the way Tehelka was hounded by the BJP. And it was the most corrupt government of its time.
No, 1 minute. Please, Pavan Verma is rebutting you here. By the way, you are talking about laundry lists. I have a lot of Congress leaders who have all got Bharat Ratnas. From Rajagopalachari, Bhagwan Das, Jawaharlal Nehru, Govind Ballam Pant, Purushottam Das Tandon, Lal Bahadur Shastri, Indira Gandhi, VV Giri, Kamraj, Rajiv Gandhi. I know how many.
But not in 1 year. Arnab, they haven't got it in 1 year.
No, but they are all for Congress and former Congress politicians who have been given the Bharat Ratna when a Congress-led government or Congress-supported government.
And they are all eminent political personalities.
No, Sanjay, please. I've done my homework.
Eminent political personalities
Sanjay, I've done my homework on this.
Contribution. You don't want to look at Mr. Vajpayee's contribution during the Quit India movement, do you?
No.
Why did you ask Mr. Sudhanshu Trivedi that question?
Pavan Verma is countering you. Pavan Verma.
Arnab, 2 quick points. Firstly, I think we are being small-minded when we are discussing the possibility of it being given to Atal Bihari Vajpayee to drown this legitimate request for consideration in counter-allegations and allegations between the Congress and the BJP spokesman. I think Mr. Vajpayee was a national statesman who contributed greatly to India's democratic and parliamentary life. And therefore, if other examples you have cited deserved it, there is no doubt that he deserves it more. There can be other claims. Nitishji mentioned Ram Manohar Lohia. There are others like Karpuri Tharku, a claim made in Bihar. So I think Mr. Vajpayee's claim definitely deserves consideration, and he is deserving of it. Second point, I believe that claim has fallen prey to the compulsions of current day politics. The Congress is probably not in favor of giving it to him just before the elections. Just before the elections, because they don't want to do BJP.
Vinod Mehta.
Can I finish? Just 1 second.
I'll give you ample opportunity once Pavan Verma comes.
Pavan will never finish.
Congress does not wish to give it to it just before the elections, but because it doesn't want to do the BJP a favor. And the BJP has never pressed it for it as eloquently and in a consistent manner, because Mr. Vajpayee and his line of moderation within the BJP has been hijacked today by the...
Then again you are getting into the political term. For a second time you are making it political.
Arnab.
Vinod Mehta.
But I am saying to you, this is the truth. Otherwise, consider a party like the BJP waking up only after 2 other names are announced.
Pavan Verma.
Pavan Verma quiet.
There you can.
Listen, accusations have been made. I just want a little time because this is only the second intervention I have. Now, my point is that I agree that Rajiv Gandhi did not deserve the Bharat Ratna. There are many Congress Prime Ministers who did not deserve the Bharat Ratna. But that does not mean that we should not examine Mr. Atal Bihari Vajpayee's record. Now, the problem with Mr. Vajpayee is a very amiable man. He's a very genial man. He wrote some very bad poetry which Pavan Verma translated into English. But the record, I am saying the record.
This is a matter
Look
of
at the record.
Mr. Mehta.
Let me finish, please. The record is that on the night before the Babri Masjid was pulled down, there is a video of Mr. Vajpayee making a very provocative speech, telling the Kar Sevaks to go there tomorrow and uproot something. That is on record. There is a video. Number 2, there is nothing personal that I have against Vajpayee. Why do you think Mr. Vajpayee raided Outlook? Because he didn't like my face? He raided Outlook because we consistently exposed the PMO.
No, did you draw a link between his raid?
Mehta, Lucknow boy, It's now in paperback at $3.99.
Stop plugging your book, Mr. Mehta. Stop plugging your book.
And
for God's sake,
$3.99.
Mr. Mehta.
And I am saying that the PMO under Mr. Vajpayee, Mr. Ranjan Bhattacharya, is one of the most corrupt PMOs that has existed.
Okay,
and one other thing. When Mr. Vajpayee used to conveniently go away to New York when the Yath Yatra, etc. of Mr. Advani, so he played a very ambiguous role in the whole round.
No, I have just one question. I have just one question. No disrespect to anyone. No disrespect. I am prefacing this by saying we respect all Bharat Ratna awardees. Okay, I'll say this. But in the year of the Lord 1997, Gulzarilal Nanda got the Bharat Ratna.
Doesn't deserve.
No, I am not. You see, one second, Mr. Mehta, you have reached, that position and stature where not only can you express your points of view as you wish, but you can also plug your book in the course of your campaign against Vajpayee on the Newshour. But I am in a far less privileged position, and neither do I have your stature. I can only ask humble questions, Mr. Mehta, you see. So I'm only making a point. 1999, in the year 1997, Gulzarilal Nanda got the Bharat Ratna. And some people, Mr. Mehta, will ask you that question today. That Mr. Vinod Mehta, besides your own personal, why are you forgetting that? Why are you forgetting the?
You made a mistake in the case of Gulzarilal Nanda. I'm saying Gulzarilal Nanda should never have got it.
Okay, Vinod Mehta.
Rajiv Gandhi should never have got it.
Vinod Mehta, in response to your ceaseless campaign against Vajpayee getting the Bharat Ratna, you will get one rebut from Sudhanshu Trivedi before I move to debate number 3. Sudhanshu Trivedi seems extremely irritated with your second intervention. Mr. Trivedi, the floor is yours.
I want to say just one thing, that he is the only leader in Indian political history which has changed the entire political chemistry of India. Just for 30-40 years, it was a unipolar politics, Congress and no other party. It was Sri Atal Bihari Vajpayee which had made the politics of this country from unipolar to bipolar and successfully running 6-year government. And not only this, he was the only person who has successfully epoched the era of
That's why you were
politics.
defeated in 2004.
And lastly, I would like
that's why you were defeated in 2004.
That is a different thing. But finally the era of coalition politics was properly established. I am not going to give the details of infrastructure development.
I never knew.
I would just like to say one thing.
The
only leader in the political history of India who has received the
orator doesn't make you a statesman or a political leader of integrity and any degree of character.
I never knew you get the Bharat Ratna for preaching coalition politics. If that is the case, we can also give the Bharat Ratna to H.D. Devegowda, I.K. Gujral and all those who ran coalition governments.
Sanjay Jha, that Jawaharlal Nehru has said that this person will become the Prime Minister for Jawaharlal Nehru. And Narasimha Rao has said that Atal Bihari Vajpayee was my political guru.
For a party,
Mr. Jawaharlal Nehru was a true world statesman.
For a party
I don't think you
that
understand
says,
the meaning of the word statesman. Let's not abuse the term.
On a lighter note,
Mr. Nehru set up the non-aligned movement. It changed the course of world politics.
On a lighter note,
come on, Mr. Trivedi, you're
on a lighter note, and only on a lighter note, since we can do with a few lighter notes on the points on the news outright. Just on a lighter note, Mr. Sudhanshu Trivedi, please consider the fact that you cannot give the Bharat Ratna to somebody who preaches coalition politics. And for a party which says target 272, for a party which says we will form the government on our own, target 272, to say we'll give a Bharat Ratna to anyone who excels in coalition politics is dangerous terrain. I said lighter note. Thank you very much for joining me on debate number 2 on the News Hour tonight. Thank you.